Hello and good morning to you. This is Dr. Bill Bledsoe bringing you another practice session of Sacred Heart Yoga. On this wonderful morning, it's Thursday, June the 12th of the year, the COVID virus. If you're brand new to Sacred Heart Yoga, there's four things we always go over first to introduce you to it. The first thing is the motions are not important. They're there to stretch you and heal you, but they're not really necessary. You can do Sacred Heart Yoga sitting in a chair until you stretch out and you get used to it. You can do it sitting in a chair and get just as much out of it. It's prayer more than it is body movements. The body movements heal our bodies, while the prayers heal our minds, our spirits, our souls. The second thing that's really important if you're a newcomer is that I begin the prayers, but then I give you the period of time to finish the prayers from your own heartfelt prayers. And this is the important part of Sacred Heart Yoga, is that each of us pray aloud what is important to us on our different paths with God, our different walks with God. Third thing on Sacred Heart Yoga that's a little different is we refer to God as God. We also refer to God as the Father, the Mother, the One, the Oneness. They're all one and the same. Do not get hung up on somebody else's terminology for God. They're just different aspects of this giant being, this giant oneness. And so some people think of God as the mother, with the being of love, of nurturing, of creation, of new cells within our body, new life all around us. Others think of God as the Father, and it's all human perceptions of what we know of in our life here. And this isn't God itself. Those are only little aspects of God. God the Father would be wisdom, knowledge, doing. God itself or the oneness or the one just means all the different aspects of God. So don't get hung up if you hear the word mother used for God or father. It's just different people's perceptions of something much bigger than us. The fourth thing that's really important if you're a newcomer is that I begin the prayers out loud. You must finish the prayers out loud with your own heartfelt prayers. And then at the end of it, we tone. Toning is saying the word Om, O-H-M, at a frequency that resonates in our own heads. It's different for everybody. So we'll just practice it 3 times real quick here so that you find out or can test different frequencies for yourself to see what works. Om. 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 So now we begin with the prayer. God, I thank you for this wonderful method of prayer, of praying aloud, of toning afterwards, and body movements, which heal our bodies while the prayers aloud heal our minds and our souls. I thank the generations that have brought this to us, from the house of David, the house of Abraham, from Jesus, his mother Mary, father Joseph, Mary Magdalene, and then Virginia Ellen, who wrote the book called Sacred Heart Yoga, so that anybody in the world can practice this ancient method of prayer anytime they want. Now, if you'll repeat after me, we will begin by saying the Sacred Heart Yoga prayer. Beloved, I devote this practice this day to the evolution of my soul, to the fulfillment of my destiny, in service to the One, and I allow myself to be purified as I rejoice in the kingdom of heaven and the love of God. And I give thanks for these blessings, these moments I share with my body and my spirit in oneness. And so it is. Amen. Om. Now we're going to clear our energy fields, and this means to get rid of any distractions, any worries, anything that's troubling us that might keep us from concentrating on our communication, our prayers with God. The way we do it in Sacred Heart Yoga in the beginning is we take our right hand up to the 12 o'clock position and do a movement out to the 3 o'clock position, over to our right knee, over to our left knee, and then back up to the 12 o'clock position. And as we do this, repeat after me these words. I clear my energy field of anyone or anything standing within. I bless them and I send them to the light. Om. Now, another technique of clearing your mind is if your mind wanders during the Sacred Heart Yoga, which mine always does. It's already done it like once here, and I hesitated a little. But Christine Lang, this wonderful teacher she's in Charlotte, North Carolina, taught me to get back into my concentration simply by letting the stray thought disappear. And the way she taught me to do it was to picture a ribbon just kind of gently floating away, blowing away on a gentle breeze until it's off in the distance and it's gone. And for me, that works to get me right back on track so that I'm concentrating on the important part, which is my own heartfelt prayers. The next thing we're going to do is ask God, how may we serve you? And these are daily prayers for me. So we take our right hand over our heart, over our solar plexus. And here Our prayers, well, the answer to me always comes in no more than 1 or 2 words. So don't, if you're new, don't expect a long dissertation or anything. Just, you'll get nudged with just a word or two. And so here our prayers begin with, God, how may I serve you this day? Om. Now we're going to stand up and announce what came to us, those 1 or 2 words, and we'll announce it as an intention, as something that we plan on doing. And so we stand up straight and tall. We take our palms out facing forward. And here our prayers begin with, God, my intention to serve you is to Om. Now we sit back down on the mats and we lay down on our backs. And we always begin and go back to resting position where our arms are at our sides, our legs are outstretched. And the first thing we do is pull our right knee up to our chest, stretching our leg. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now we hold our right foot in our left hand and pull it over to our left thigh and let our right knee fall down to the mat, stretching out. Our right arm this time goes up above our head, straight out, and stretches down flat towards the mat. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now we switch hands. Our right foot goes in our right hand this time, and we pull it down to our pelvis. And this time our left arm goes straight up above our heads and stretching down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now our right foot goes pointed straight up to the heavens, holding it with our right hand. Our left arm stays straight up above our heads, stretching down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now we let our arms fall straight out to the sides from our shoulders, extended out, palms up. Our right leg goes up to the heavens and falls out to the right side of our bodies. And we open our pelvis as it goes down to the mat. And we open our pelvis as wide as we can. And here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now we turn our heads to the right, and our right leg goes across our bodies over to the left side. We keep our shoulders down flat on the mat as we stretch our backs with our leg to the left, our right leg to the left. Here our prayers begin with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now we go back to resting position, arms at our sides, our legs outstretched, and we pull our left knee up to our chest and hold it there with our hands and arms. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we take our left foot in our right hand and pull it over to our right thigh, letting our left knee fall down to the mat. Our left arm goes straight up above our heads. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we take our left foot in our left hand and we put our right hand this time up over our heads, extended straight out, down to the mat. And we keep our left foot near our pelvis. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we let our left foot go up and point towards the heavens, pulling our knee down towards the mat. Our right arm stays above our head, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we let our arms fall out, straight out from our shoulders, out to the sides, palms up. And we let our left leg go up to the heavens and then fall out to the left side of our bodies, down to the mat. And we open our pelvis as wide as we can. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we turn our heads to the left, and our left leg goes back across our bodies over to the right side. And we stretch our backs and we keep our shoulders down flat on the mat. And here our prayers begin with, Mother, I love you. Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we go back to resting position, our arms at our sides, our feet outstretched, and we pull both knees up to our chests and hold them there with our arms and hands, stretching our backs. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Om. Now we hold our right foot in our right hand and our left foot in our left hand. Pull our feet, the soles of our feet together down near our pelvis. Our knees go out to the sides. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Om. Now we pull our feet apart, keeping them down near our pelvis, stretching our hips, our pelvis. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Om. Now we take our feet and we point them up towards the heavens, stretching our knees down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Om. Now we let our arms fall straight out to the sides, again, and this time our palms are down. Our feet fall down to the mat near our pelvis. Our knees are up towards the heavens. We turn our heads to the left this time, and our knees bend to the right. And we keep our shoulders down flat on the mat, stretching our backs. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Om. Now we turn our heads to the right and our knees go over to the left side, stretching our backs the other way, keeping our arms straight out, palms down, shoulders on the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you. God, I thank you. Om. Now we go back to resting position, arms at our sides, feet outstretched. And this pose is what's called the surrender pose. And what we do is we surrender anything that we desire to God, anything that's troubling us, worrying us, any distractions, any fears, any guilt, anything that might get in the way of our personal walks with God as we see him or her. And so the way we surrender is we take our hands under our sit bones and lean forward on our elbows. Try to touch the tops of our heads back down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, I surrender to you. Om. Now we go back to resting position, arms at our sides, feet outstretched. And our left arm this time and hand goes up towards the heavens. And it falls over to the right side of our bodies, and we take our right hand halfway between our left elbow and left shoulder and stretch our shoulder and our backs as we stretch it over farther. And here our prayers begin with, God, I choose. Om. Now we switch hands. Our right hand goes up towards the heavens, and we, with our arms straight, we let our right arm fall over to the left side of our body, stretching our shoulders and our backs. And we take our left hand halfway between our right elbow and right shoulder and pull it over farther. And here our prayers begin with, God, I can. Om. Now we go back to resting position, arms at our sides, feet outstretched. And we start what's called the tabernacle series, where we form tabernacles with, our different parts of our bodies, our arms and our legs, and we start by pulling our feet up to our pelvis. The soles of our feet go together and our knees fall out to the sides. This forms a tabernacle, a house of God below our bodies. And then we form a second tabernacle with our hands in prayer position over our hearts. And we extend them up 2/3 of the way up to the heavens. And in this tabernacle of our hearts, this house of God, we find God's beautiful chalice. And it's filled with any desire, anything we could ever need, anything we could ever want to be in service to God. And so here we drink from the chalice. Our prayers begin with, God, I drink from your chalice, your gifts of Om. Now we take our hands still in prayer position over our heads and down to the mat, elbows falling out to the sides, forming a tabernacle over our entire bodies. And here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for this body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we're going to start the anointing series, and this is where we anoint the gifts that have come to us from God. And we'll repeat the anointing series 3 times, and you can anoint anything you want each time, same thing over and over. It doesn't matter, whatever is right for you this day. So we begin the anointing series, and all throughout the anointing series, we keep our hands in prayer position. So we begin it by taking our thumbs up to our foreheads. And here our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts of Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips, hands in prayer position, and here our prayers begin with, God, I bless your gifts of, and I dedicate them only in service to you. Now we take our hands still in prayer position over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts of Om. Now the fourth pose is a movement in each of the anointing series. This time we point our fingers down towards our abdomens and move our hands slowly out over our pelvis to the 3 o'clock position, and then slowly make an arc back up to the 12 o'clock position. And so we point our fingers down, beginning the movement, and our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts of Om. Now we begin the second in the series of anointing, and we take our thumbs up to our foreheads, and you can anoint anything that comes to you. And here our prayers begin with, God, I anoint Om. Now we take our hands in prayer position and let our thumbs touch our lips. And here our prayers begin with, God, I bless and I dedicate it in service only to you, to the one. Om. Now we take our hands, still in prayer position, over our hearts, and here our prayers begin with, God, I bless your gifts of, and I thank you for them. Om. Now we point our fingers down towards our abdomen and do the slow movement to our 3 o'clock and 12 o'clock positions. As we do this, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with these gifts of Om. Now we take our thumbs back to our foreheads for the third and final in the anointing series. And our prayers begin with, God, I anoint Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips. And here our prayers begin with, God, I bless and I dedicate them in service to you, to the oneness. Om. Now we take our hands still in prayer position down over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts of Om. Now we take our fingers and we point them down towards our abdomens and extend them out to the 3 o'clock and 12 o'clock positions. As we do this movement, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts of Om. Now we go back to resting position, our arms at our sides, our feet outstretched, and we cross our right ankle over our left ankle, and we cross our right arm over our left arm, over our hearts. Here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for your protection, your safety. Om. Now we take and go back to resting position, our arms at our sides, our feet outstretched, and we roll over on our sides and push ourselves back up into sitting position, using our arms and our legs, our hands, And here, our right leg goes straight out in front of us. Our left foot goes over our right knee. And we take our left arm behind our backs to support ourselves. And we hold our left knee with our right arm. We twist our head and shoulders to the left. And here our prayers begin with, desire I am, desire I am, desire I am. I desire. Om. Now we take our left leg straight out in front of us. Our right foot goes over across our left knee. Our right arm goes behind our backs for support. Our left arm holds our right knee. We turn our heads and shoulders to the right side. And here our prayers begin with, will I am, will I am, will I am. I will. Om. Now we'll get up on our knees. And we put our hands in prayer position over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you. Om. Now the next position is the child's pose, where we put our foreheads down on the mat. And what's a little different is that we form a tabernacle with tips of our thumbs together and the tips of our first finger together, and we'll put our foreheads in this tabernacle. And as we sit here quietly in this pose, we feel God the Father's wisdom filling us, filling our minds, filling our every cell in our body, and we feel God the Mother's love filling every cell in our bodies. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. And this time our right leg gets extended out to the right side. We pull our left foot up to the inside of our right thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, I am. Om. Now we switch legs. Our left leg goes out to the left side. Our right foot comes up to the inside of our left thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, I am. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. This time our hands are on our knees, palms up. Our thumbs touch our middle two fingers. And here we keep our back straight and we bow at our pelvis forward. And our prayers begin with, I bow to my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we sit up straight and tall once again, and we bow a second time by bending, flexing at our pelvis, keeping our back straight. And here our prayers begin with, God, I bow to you, to the Father, to the Mother, to the oneness, to the divinity within. Om. Now we go back to sitting straight and tall, and we feel where we're grounded to the earth at our pelvis. We feel the left side of our pelvis and the right side of our pelvis grounded, strong. And we feel the mother's wonderful white light of love and nurturing coming up through the left side of our pelvis. This white light of creating new cells, of creation of new life, it fills our legs. This white light of love fills our abdomens, every cell. And it fills our hearts. It comes up and fills our hearts, and it bursts out shining to the world from our hearts. And her white light of love goes up through our lungs, through our neck, into our heads, filling our minds with the knowledge that God's love is always there. And then it goes out the tops of our heads. This white light goes up into the heavens and showers down on the entire earth around us. And now we feel on the right side of our pelvis where we're grounded. We feel the Father's blue light of truth, of knowing, of wisdom. And this blue light fills our legs, fills every cell in our legs to being overflowing with the blue light. Fills our abdomens with the blue light. And the blue light comes up through our hearts, again, shining out from our hearts to the world. And then it goes up through our lungs, up through our throats, up into our heads, our minds, filled with what we need to know each day. And this light goes above out the tops of our heads and up into the heavens and showers down on the world around us. And here we can step up into this light above our heads. And we can stay there as long as we desire, as long as we want. But while we're there, we ask just one question. God, what do I need to know?